This episode of Love Larn is sponsored by Moparts Oz.
Hey guys, it's Michael here from Love Larn. Today we are doing a Q&A. Now this is kind of out because I get a lot of questions via Messenger, etc. Just from great viewers such as yourselves asking about Scott Bonnar and lawnmower things. So I thought I'd take advantage of some of those questions and turn them into content for the greater good, i.e. everyone else out there who watches the channel. So we're going to kick off today with some questions about the front roller and the front roller, the General Assembly. So I got a message from my mate Ben Gordon. I'm not sure where he's from, but good day Ben. Thanks again for volunteering to let me use this question of yours on the show today. Ben said, hey mate, how's it going? Just been watching your Renault series over lockdown here in Melbourne. Sorry guys. Love it mate. Thank you. Makes me want to do a reno on mine. Haha. Good man, you should. Had a silly question. Is my front roller meant to move like this? And Ben sent me a video of his front roller kind of wobbling around as they do. So the short answer is no, it shouldn't. And I sent Ben a couple of answers, a couple of possible solutions as to what the problem may be. And I will now take you through some of those answers that I gave Ben. So let's see. I wrote back, I said to Ben, the front roller shouldn't be moving like that. If it does, it has the potential to leave a corrugated cut on the lawn as it bounces around. So basically, if your front roller, forming the front end of your mower, is bouncing up and down like this, you're going to end up with potentially a wavy cut on your lawn, depending on other factors as well. Hang on, corrugation can be caused by any number of variables, including the front end, but there are other things that we need to talk about here before we overhaul the front end of our lawnmower. Number one, thatch. Is your lawn thatchy? It's important to remember that when we're mowing with a cylinder mower, we want to be mowing ideally on a flat surface, and a flat surface that's not spongy. Otherwise, we might end up with corrugation. Number two, have you been driving your mower in the same direction for the last 25 years? In that case, you probably want to mix things up a little bit. Try driving diagonally or side to side every once in a while, maybe every other mow, just to even out the weight distribution of your machine on the lawn surface. If not, you're driving down a dirt road and things are getting bumpy. Number three, what's the condition of your blade like? Is it sharp? Has it been professionally ground? Has it been well ground by a professional? There's a distinction to be made there. Also consider the set of your reel in relation to the bottom blade. All of these factors, including the condition of your lawn and the rate at which you're mowing it, can introduce corrugation. So a few other things to consider before you rip apart your lawnmower. It seems like, oh, just replace the front roller, but no, there's a little bit more to it than that. And it's because there's kind of a few parts wrapped up in the front roller mechanism. So obviously your front roller tube, of course, is there. But if we take a look at this more specifically, we've got the end caps on either end. This is the older style of roller, so it's got basically just a plastic or a metal end cap in this case. And the shaft passes through that hole, and basically the thing just spins. The end cap just rotates on the shaft in direct contact with the shaft, the metal shaft. So obviously not a sort of high activity, high movement sort of piece of the machinery, but still has the potential for wear. And that can be proven by looking at a shaft like this. Now, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but if you look along the length of this shaft, over here, there's a dip. And that is from the end cap basically wearing on that shaft over time. The first time I saw this, I was gobsmacked because I thought, that thing's not, it's not motorized, it's not moving, not motorized directly anyway. And just to think that a plastic end cap can do that much damage. This one's worn on this end, it's probably even more severe on this end. Just blew my mind basically. So let's see, we've got the roller, the shaft, of course, and then the cradle. Do the old swap-a-roo. The cradle itself, this one's in reasonable conditions, obviously kind of worn away down on the, trying to figure out the best way to show you that, over on the side here where it's just worn on the ground, I guess. and again, the cradle itself sits. This end sits in the bushing of the frame, so that has the potential, I suppose, to wear over time, and also where your height adjuster inserts to tilt the thing up and down. That hole can enlarge a bit, enough to make a difference. And I mentioned bushings because this is a side panel off a 14-inch solid deck machine, so they come apart obviously. But this little bushing down here has the potential to wear as well. And again, it's not an area that you tend to suspect in terms of high wear, but those things can loosen up and cause enough slop in the overall assembly that you do get that movement in your roller. So these things are welded in place, and a couple welds here, so grind those off, put in some new bushings available from all the usual suspects, weld them back in, and you're good to go, or buy new sides. So yeah, I guess end of the day, there are a couple opportunities for slop in the front roller assembly, and it pays, to address those issues through a couple different options. And to my mind, they all kind of work together, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you're looking at your front roller, the easiest thing to do is replace the front roller itself. Obviously you can buy new end caps and just replace those with new plastic end caps. That might be a good place to start. But I certainly like the new front rollers that are available, again, from the usual suspects, just because they incorporate a bearing essentially into the end caps. So let me grab one and I'll show you. All right, the one prop I forgot. So this is the front roller from George at Moparts Oz. Obviously, it's just next level sort of thing. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll stop banging it together. I think it's a larger diameter than the original, which I like myself. I like the look of it, if nothing else. You can also get the period correct diameter from Shane at Motec if that's your thing as well. And George has got a new shaft in here. So I'll just pull that out so that you can see the bearing that sits in this end cap. And basically, try and drop that back in there. That shaft is now rotating on that bearing rather than the end cap rotating on the shaft directly. So the opportunity for wear there in terms of your end cap and your shaft has been greatly reduced, and that's pretty cool. So put that back together. So basically just replacing the front roller and the front axle on its own is going to do a fair bit in terms of lifting your game at the front end of your machine. In terms of the axle itself, does that warrant a new cradle? I don't know. It's not a moving part per se, but you do want a nice snug fit with your cradle. So a new cradle is not terribly expensive, and it's probably worth replacing, in my opinion, if you're spending the money on the rest of it. To be honest, replacing the front cradle itself as well as the height adjuster mechanism, so the L bracket at the very least, is probably a sensible thing to do, just to make sure that everything's going to mate together nicely and securely without any of the movement, as a result of 40, 50 years of use. And finally, I've mentioned it already, but just to repeat, in terms of that bushing, there's one on this side of the frame and one on the other side. You can buy new bushings. They're not terribly expensive. If you can weld, you can pop a new one in there. Alternatively, buy a new frame side from Shane at Motec and carry on that way. And if you're otherwise so inclined, you could maybe come up with a better solution to dealing with that bushing rather than removing it if you're a genius. I don't know, it's not me. I don't know how to weld. All right, the last thing I mentioned to Ben was just make sure that all your nuts and bolts are done up tightly. The nut hanging off the end of your height adjuster, the little L bracket, the threaded L thing. Just make sure that's nice and snug, and that all the nuts on the end of the cradle and your front roller, less so, are done up tightly as well. Just, there's a lot of sort of action going on at the front end there in terms of, just taking the impact of the shape of your lawn as you're moving forward, I guess. So making sure all that stuff's done up tightly after you've made your adjustments in terms of your height. It's just good practice to make sure that, there's nothing flopping around there wearing your front roller assembly unnecessarily, be it old style or new style. So, alrighty. That is it for today. Thank you, Ben, for the question. Really appreciate that. I hope the rest of you enjoyed that. If you did, feel free to leave a comment down below. Hit like, of course, if you enjoyed the video today. And feel free to send through your own comments and questions to comment on this video if you like. Send us a message via Messenger. And if it's an interesting question, I might consider turning it into another Q&A video, because these things are kind of fun. And I hope you found this to be a useful little bit of video today anyway. So thank you guys for joining us. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram for all the out-of-band content that doesn't make it into video. What else? I don't know. New videos coming out regularly, so check back every once in a while. Say hi if you feel like it. Drop us a comment, like, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. See ya.